In the day's other news, lawmakers in the House of Representatives narrowly passed President Biden's massive Build Back Better legislation this morning after Republican leader Kevin McCarthy stalled the vote for more than 8 hours overnight. The sweeping social safety net and climate bill now goes to the Senate, where it will face further scrutiny. We'll have much more on this after the news summary. All adults in the U.S. are now eligible to receive a Pfizer or Moderna COVID-19 booster shot. The CDC approved their use hours after the FDA cleared the added dose. We'll take a closer look at the boosters also later in the program. Meanwhile, overseas, Austria's leaders announced plans for a nationwide lockdown to help slow a surge in COVID infections. It will go into effect on Monday. The country will also mandate COVID vaccinations next year.
We have decided to make vaccinations compulsory across the country. This will begin February 1st. Substantially increasing vaccination rates is our only way out of this vicious circle of virus waves and lockdown discussions once and for all. We don't want a fifth wave. We don't want a sixth and seventh wave.
This will be the continent's first nationwide vaccination mandate. Today's decision comes as parts of Europe are seeing record numbers of daily infections. Jury deliberations began today in Virginia in the civil trial of white nationalists at the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. They face charges of conspiracy to commit racially motivated violence after marching through the streets carrying torches and yelling racist and anti-Semitic rhetoric. At least one counter-protester died and dozens more were injured. In India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has agreed to repeal controversial farm laws after thousands of farmers protested against them over the past year. They had argued the legislation would hurt their incomes. The repeal process will begin in December when India's parliament reconvenes. Farmers took to the streets to celebrate the surprise announcement. Many were cautiously optimistic.
We welcome Prime Minister Modi's announcement, but the farmers will not leave this protest site until the laws are repealed in the parliament.
Farmers make up one of India's most influential voting blocs. The reversal comes as Modi's party faces state elections early next year. The UN is now calling on China to provide proof of tennis star Peng Shuai's whereabouts. She's been missing ever since making sexual assault allegations against a former top Chinese official earlier this month. Beijing's foreign ministry said today that they were, quote, not aware of her disappearance. The Biden administration voiced concerns today about Louis DeJoy's leadership at the U.S. Postal Service. The Postmaster General is a Trump-era appointee. He came under fire in 2020 for making changes that slowed mail delivery times, as many voters were mailing in their presidential election ballots. DeJoy has also been criticized for investing in companies that have done business with the Postal Service.
We're, of course, deeply troubled, continue to be deeply troubled, as many Americans are, by the earlier reporting on Postmaster General DeJoy's potential financial conflicts of interest, and take serious issues with the job he's doing running the Postal Service.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, DeJoy can only be removed by the U.S. Postal Service Board of Governors. Today, President Biden announced plans to replace two of DeJoy's backers on the board with two new members. President Biden had his annual physical examination at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center today on the eve of his 79th birthday. His physician declared him healthy and, quote, fit for duty. While under anesthesia for a routine colonoscopy, his authority was transferred to Vice President Kamala Harris, making her the first woman in the U.S. to hold presidential powers. Stocks were mixed on Wall Street today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 269 points to close at 35,602. The Nasdaq rose 64 points to notch a record close, and the S&P 500 slipped 6. And two lucky turkeys are off the menu this Thanksgiving as part of a presidential tradition. The gobblers, named Peanut Butter and Jelly, were officially pardoned by President Biden at the White House today. They will live out their days on a farm at Purdue University in Indiana. Lucky Purdue and lucky turkeys. Still to come on the NewsHour, how to get boosters to everyone 18 years and older as COVID cases in the U.S. continue to rise. the unique challenges that wrongfully convicted people struggle with when adjusting to post-prison life. And Jonathan Capehart and Gary Abernathy weigh in on the House passing the Build Back Better bill and the verdict in Kyle Rittenhouse's trial, and much more.
This is the PBS NewsHour from WETA Studios in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.